everyone, it's Sarah with She Documents Life. Today I'm going to be working on a creative team project for Scrapbook Sketch. I just showed you quickly what the sketch was. It's a brand new sketch that's out today, Friday, September 6th, and it has 3 photos on it with a central base design. I'm using some old pattern papers from a Close to My Heart collection that I haven't cut into at all yet. And I'm scrapping these 3 photos of when my one son was a baby and we took him out on the deck and we blew bubbles to see if he would be interested in bubbles. So I'm using this white paper with a really thin black stripe to map my photos, and now I am cutting off a 4-inch strip of this blue patterned paper, and I'm going to use this yellow cardstock as my background. So I'm going to just adhere this on directly into the center of the paper. And I'm trimming off a little bit of excess that's on the edge here. And I'm just going to kind of lay out my photos because I have 2 horizontals and 1 vertical. The sketch is showing that it has 2 verticals and 1 horizontal. So I changed it up a little bit that way. And I'm just using some foam here to pop up that one photo of the baby with all the bubbles around him. And I'm going to go back in and sort of figure out my placement. And now I'm using this Tim Holtz set of dies from Sizzix that I bought at my little scrapbook store, and I'm going to cut off a couple of strips of green cardstock, and I'm going to die cut this thin film strip out of the green. So you're just going to see me here doing a little bit of die cutting. While we're watching me die cut out all these pieces, I'll just tell you a little bit about Scrapbook Sketch. So it's a Facebook group that I will have linked down in the description below. And it is a sketch group, and every Friday a brand new sketch is released, and it's totally free. You just have to be a member of the group to see the sketch. So if you follow the link down in the description and head on over to the Facebook group and join us, you can see this week's sketch as well as all of the previous sketches that have ever been posted in the group. All right, looks like my die cutting is done. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck these film strips in under that blue strip of patterned paper. And that is going to be sort of a border to go on either side of the pattern paper. So I'm just going to glue that in, and I'm also going to adhere down my photos as I'm going along to just get the placement right where I want it to be. So like I was saying, Scrapbook Sketch is a great place to find sketch inspiration. She also has a shop where you can purchase printables, stencils, as well as a brand new sketch ebook. And if you use my code SARAH10, it's SARAH10, at checkout, you'll get a discount off of those things, printables, sketches, and the ebook. There's also a premium sketch membership, which I highly recommend. You get 5 or 6 sketches every month for a low yearly subscription price, and it's tons of inspiration. It's really awesome. You can see I have all of my photos adhered down now. And now I'm going to pull in the sticker sheet that came with this collection. And I like this really big word best, but I don't have enough room for it here. So what I end up doing is I end up sort of layering the letters and kind of scattering them up and down to make them fit. And then this is a 3x4 card that came with the collection. And I'm going to be cutting out the word day using this set of alpha dies. Now this set of alpha dies is from Concord and Ninth. I recently purchased them, and what I'm doing is I cut the card in half, and because I just need D, A, and Y, I'm going to put one strip of the paper at the top to get the D and the A, and then the other one at the bottom just to get the Y, and I'm using some mint tape to hold it all in place. And you're just going to see that I'm going to pop out the letters that I need. And I'm going to kind of fit them in this little space between the A and the T here because it just is a nice little nook to nestle in the other letters for the title. So I'm just doing a little bit of a tidy up, and now I'm going to glue those letters down with my art glitter glue. And I really like the way these blue letters contrast on the bottom against the yellow background and with the white letters, the really large white letters on top. And now what I'm doing is I'm pulling out my circle punches. So I have a 1.5 inch, a 1.25 inch, and a 1 inch circle punch. And what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to make my own bubble embellishments. So I just started off by punching out just a few of these, and I'm bringing in this periwinkle color. It's a really, really, really light blue. And I'm using a blending brush just to add a tiny bit of ink to the edge of the circle. And it's a little bit hard to see in the video, the shading on the one side, but when you look at the close-ups of the layout at the end, you'll see that you can definitely see the shading on just the one side, just to kind of give it a little more of a three-dimensional feel, like it is a bubble. So I start out by making 2 clusters. So I have the cluster of 3 and then the cluster of 2. And then I decided that I need a few more in there. So what I'm doing is I'm adhering them down. I'm going to pop some up on foam and some are just going to stay flat. And over there to the side, what I've done is I've pulled in uh, my drops. I have a bunch of the Pink Fresh Studio drops, and I have them organized in that little box there. So I'm going to use the drops to also simulate, I guess, bubbles on the layout. All right, I'm going to add a little bit of foam behind the small bubble here at the top. And I think this is the point where I decide that I need a few more bubbles on here. So you'll see I'm going to go and punch out 2 more bubbles, and they're going to make just a little bubble cluster down at the bottom. So I'm going to repeat the whole process. Add some ink around the edges, on the bottom, and the side, just the bottom and the side of the circle. Repeat it on the small one. And now I'm going to adhere them to my layout. And this time I'm going to pop up the larger bubble to make that one look like it's in front of the smaller bubble. I always like finding ways to use tools and things that I have in my stash to make some embellishments, especially with collections like this one where I don't really have a lot of embellishments. This collection, I only had a 12 by 12 sticker sheet, some acrylic pieces that you'll see coming up soon, and um, the card pack. So it was 3 by 4 and 4 by 6 cards. And that was really all I had. So I liked being able to use some of my dies and my punches here to create embellishments to go with the theme of the page. So these are uh, the Pink Fresh drops. They're the clear drops, and they have a silver, kind of a silver backing. So they look a little bit like bubbles. Maybe not too much. I don't know, but I like them. So I just kind of place them around. And now I pulled out, this is that acrylic pack that came with this Close to My Heart collection. It was called Isabella. And I'm looking for these dark blue hearts. And I'm going to scatter a few of these hearts around the page as well. I had some really pretty, very delicate acrylic pieces in this collection. I'm not sure when this is from, maybe 2021, 2022. It was a springtime collection. and there's a lot of lemons and florals in it, but I sort of took it in a different direction and I just based the layout off of the color. So I chose the colors yellow and blue because if you see in that bottom photo, the socks that my son is wearing are bright yellow and blue. So I went with those colors for this layout and I love how it goes with the photos. Now here you're going to see me struggle with trying to add these gems onto the page. I apologize for my head being in the way there, but I tried to use my gem picker to put these on, but they were not sticking to my gem picker. So I'm just using my hands to add these drops onto the page. And I'm just adding a few little clusters of drops all around. I'm adding that larger heart by the title to bring a little bit more, to draw your eye more to the title there. And I'm finishing up on the bottom with some more drops and another heart. Stay tuned at the end because I'm going to have some close-ups, pictures of all of the embellishments and the layout so you can get a closer look at them. Here I'm just using a pen and I'm going to doodle a line around the edge because I always like to have sort of a frame to my layout, and I either use a second sheet of paper to make a frame, but in this case I am just doodling on a line. It's not neat by any means, it's not straight, it's squiggly, but I love the look of it. And now I'm going to go in and add a border line here around this blue paper in the center to give that a little bit of definition as well. There's something to be said for these old techniques. We used to draw lines around everything, then kind of stopped for a while, but they really do add to a page and make a fun sort of border around elements on your page. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm using this silver glimmer mist that's from Gina K, and I'm going to do some splatters. So I'm getting my splatter box set up here. I'm going to cover up the photos, and then I'm going to pull out my silicone sheet. You can't see it yet. It's going to come into the side soon. There's my silicone sheet, and I'm going to spray the silver mist onto the silicone sheet, and I'm going to use a fan brush to get a very, very fine splatter. So when I want very, very small, fine looking splatter marks, I will use this method instead of just taking um, the nozzle out of the bottle, which will leave me with like larger splatters on the page. And this dried very nicely, this Gina K splatter. It's very shiny, and I'm really happy with how it came out. So I'm just going to add a little bit of splatter down to this last section down here where that third bubble section is, bubble cluster. And that's going to be it for my layout. So stay tuned for some close-ups, and thank you for joining me. I'd love it if you would like this video and subscribe if you'd like to see more of my content. Thank you for watching. Bye.